Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we make trendy and fun crochet tutorials twice a week. If you haven't already, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to join in on the fun. Here's another fun one from our brain to your hooks. With this one, we decided to go full modern, leaning into sharp angles and sleekness, making sure it's still comfy. It worked out well. This one's a pretty quick workup, so I know you'll be making some remakes soon. If you do, be sure to tag me on Instagram so you can be featured in my story highlights and get your shine on. That's all from me, but before I go, thanks for dropping by and enjoy the video. Now, without further ado, for this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I use 230 grams of yarn, or that's 600 yards if you're stateside. As for tools, a 5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 4 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows: chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Next, we're going to grab our 5mm hook and start off by making a chain that goes from our underarm down to where we want the bottom of this top to be, keeping in mind that we will have an inch for our underarm detail and also a bottom border. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and that's going to be a chain of 16. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 2. That's our turning chain. We're going to prepare for a half double crochet, and then insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook. Let's do the next half double together. Yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, pull through. Yarn over, pull through all 3. We're going to put 1 half double crochet into every chain except for the last, because we're going to increase together. Now that we've made our way down with our half double crochets, we have 1 chain left, so we're going to do an increase together. So yarn over, into that last chain, go in with 1 half double crochet. And then into that same last chain, go in with 1 more half double crochet. That is our increase. From here, we're going to switch it up and go in with back loop slip stitches, but we do need to increase into this row as well. So start off by doing a chain up of 2. We're going to flip our work, and then into the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a back loop slip stitch. So skip this first chain, into the second, insert your hook into that back loop, yarn over and pull through everything. Into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. Put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. When we make our way down to the bottom, do a chain out of 2, flip our work, and put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, remembering to increase into the last stitch. And we're going to keep alternating between a row of back loop half doubles and back loop slip stitches while increasing into this end until this reaches the middle of our chest. We want to make sure that we're meeting back on our half double crochet row, and then we can move on from there. Alright y'all, so I am back and I have just finished up going in with my rows, and this reaches the middle of my chest. We did end on a half double crochet row, and just so you guys know, from here to here I have a total of 19 rows. My next row is going to be a slip stitch row with no increases, no decreases. Once we have that, we're going to do a chain out of 2, flip our work, put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch except for the last 2, because now we're going to start decreasing for the other side. So go ahead and get that slip stitch row done, and then the first bit of our half double crochet run, and then we'll decrease together. Alright, so we have just finished up going in with our slip stitch row where we didn't do any increases or decreases. And then we have worked up our next row of back loop half double crochets until we have just 2 stitches left. So let's do that decrease together. We're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that second to last back loop, pull through, and also into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. From here, we are going to need to decrease into the slip stitch row as well. So do a chain up of 1, flip our work. Insert your hook into that first back loop, pull through, next back loop, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And from here, make your way down, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And we're going to alternate between a row of back loop half double and back loop slip stitches while maintaining the decrease along the top. We're going to keep going until we have the same amount of rows as we have on this side, and then I will meet you guys back. Alright, you guys, so we are back and we have just finished up going in with the rest of our underarm portion. I now have the same amount of rows as I had over here, and I did a chain up of 1 and cut. And once we have this, we're actually going to be making 1 more identical piece. Don't mind the single crochet row, but we're going to be making 1 more identical piece. So go ahead and get that finished up. And then in the next clip, we're going to seam it up together. So when it comes to seaming this up, what we're going to do is first make sure that our ribbing is faced outwards on both ends. So this ribbing is faced up towards us. The other panel that we have, the ribbing is face down. From here, we're going to insert our hook into the corner stitch into the front panel, and then into the corner stitch into the back panel. And then we're going to do a row of outside loop slip stitches. So go ahead and insert your yarn onto your hook and pull through. Do a chain up of 1 to secure. From here, we're going to put 1 slip stitch into the next available stitches front loop, and then into the next available stitches in the back panel. Insert your hook into that back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything. And we're doing it this way so that it just looks like another slip stitch row in between. Let's do the next one together. Insert your hook into the next available stitches front loop, and then insert your hook into the next available stitches back loop. Yarn over, pull through everything. Do this going all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left. Do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then do the same thing here on the other side. Alright, you guys, so we are back and we have just finished up seaming up our sides, and I have actually went ahead and finished up 1 underarm portion just so I knew the numbers for you guys. So from here, we're going to get started on the next one. We're first going to insert our hook into the side half double crochet that's right next to that 1 middle slip stitch row where we didn't do any increases or decreases. So go ahead and insert your hook into there, insert your yarn onto your hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1. This counts as our first single crochet. And from here, we're going to be putting 2 single crochet into every side half double. So since this counts as our first, we're going to go into the same side half double with 1 more single. So insert with a single. We're going to skip our side slip stitch row, go into our next side half double with another 2 singles. So there's 1, and then there's 2. We're going to keep doing that, going all the way down. Once we reach our side seam, I will meet you guys back. All right, once when we have made our way all the way down to our side seam, we're going to be putting 1 single crochet into that corner stitch, and then we're going to insert a stitch marker into there. So into the last stitch that we have for our side seam, insert your hook with a single. Go ahead and insert your stitch marker into there. And from here, work your way back up to the point of the body portion, putting 2 single crochets into every side half double. Do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so now that we have single crocheted all along our underarm, we did a chain up of 1 and cut. Right before we get started with the detail, we're going to need to insert our stitch markers into the 10th stitch away from the edges. And from here, we can get started along one side. So go ahead and insert your hook into that middle stitch that we have, which is the one where we inserted our stitch marker into. So go ahead and insert your yarn onto your hook and pull through. Now for my underarm detail, I'm going to start off by making it about 1 inch or 1/2 centimeter, because as we get along the top, it will expand. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 3. Once I have my chain, I'm going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1. That's our turning chain. And then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, I'm going to go in with a slip stitch. So insert, pull through everything. Put one slip stitch into every chain. Now that we've slip stitched all the way down our chain, we're now going to slip stitch it into the base to connect it. So go ahead and find that next available stitch into the base, insert your hook, pull through everything, and now this first row is nice and attached. Let's do the next row together. So slip stitch into the next available stitch into the base, flip our work, and put one back loop slip stitch into each of these stitches. So insert, pull through everything, insert into the back loop, pull through everything, and keep doing that, going all the way down until we hit our stitch marker, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so now that we have done our rows of back loop slip stitches all the way down until we hit our stitch marker, we're now going to start increasing into every other row. So let's get that started. From here, we all should have ended along the outer edge, and we're going to start off by doing a chain up of 2. From here, we're going to slip stitch into the second chain from our hook. So this one that's closest to the hook is our turning chain. Go ahead and insert your hook into that second chain's back loop with a slip stitch, and then put one slip stitch into every stitch. And now that we have that, I'm going to take my stitch marker out and slip stitch it into that next stitch into the base. From here, we're going to slip stitch into the next available stitch, flip our work, put one back loop slip stitch into each of these stitches, and then once we're at the end of this row, we're also going to do a chain out of 2, and just repeat everything that we just did for our increase. We're going to keep doing that, going all the way up until we hit this corner, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then I'll show you guys where we're going to insert our hook for our other side. All right, guys, we are back, and we've just finished up going in with one entire side of our underarm detail. The other side is going to be done exactly the same, but we aren't going to do our chain up of 1 because we don't want any more ends to weave in. So we're actually just going to insert our hook into the outermost chain that we made for our original chain up of 3. But once we have that, we can insert our hook and then insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and from here we're going to do a chain up of 1. The chain up of 1 only for this row is going to count as our first slip stitch, but we still have 2 more stitches to go into, so make sure you go into those back loops with a slip stitch and then another slip stitch. And I'm just going to do the next row with you guys just to remind you that that chain up of 1 counts as our slip stitch. So I'm on to my second row. I have flipped my work. I'm going to go in with 1 back loop slip stitch, 2 back loop slip stitch, and then remember into that chain up of 1 space. There's our third, and then from here, repeat everything the same. And once we have this side all finished up, go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so we are back, and we have just finished up going in with our underarm detail on both sides. From here, we're going to start working on the neck detail. So we're going to start off by inserting our hook into the corner stitch that we have for our underarm portion, and then we're going to measure up and over our shoulder to the other corner stitch. I have already measured mine out, so I'm going to start off by making a chain that is 4.5 inches or 12 centimeters, where that comes out to 17 chains. Once we have our chain, we are going to single crochet it into this corner stitch, and we're single crocheting it so that it's easier for us to go into our next row. So go ahead and insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then going to single crochet into every stitch, making our way across the body. But we will have 1 stitch in between the underarm details. We're just going to go in with 1 single crochet into there. But go ahead and make another chain once you reach this corner, single crochet it into here, single crochet across the body, and then slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space. Now that we've made our way all the way around with our chain and our single crochet, we're going to be doing 1 more row of single crochets. The only difference is that once we get over the body portion, we're going to go in with back loop single crochets. So from where we're at, do a chain up of 1, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet into every chain. When we reach the body, go in with back loop single crochets, just putting 1 into every stitch. Make your way all the way around, slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space, and then I'll meet you guys back. So now that we have made our way around with our second single crochet row where we did single crochets and then also back loop single crochets, we're now going to go in with our mock neck. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 12. That's about 3 inches or 8 centimeters. Once we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain to a chain up of 1. Into that chain that we blocked off, go in with a slip stitch. Put 1 slip stitch into every chain. Now that we've put 1 slip stitch into every stitch, we're now going to be slip stitching into the next available stitch into the base, but making sure we're going into that back loop. So insert your hook into that next stitch's back loop with a slip stitch to close off this first row. And in order to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch into that next back loop, flip our work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into each of these stitches. We're going to keep doing that, going all the way around until we don't have any more stitches left. Then I'll meet you guys back so we can seam it up together. Alright, so now that we have made our way all the way around with our slip stitches for our mock neck, we are now ready to seam it up. The seam is going to be the same way that we have seamed up the sides, so let's just do the first one together. Go ahead and insert your hook into the first available stitch into the front panel and into the first available stitch into the back panel. And from here, we're just going to secure them together. So yarn over, pull through everything to a chain up of 1. Into the next available stitch into the front panel, insert your hook into that front loop. And then into the next available stitch into the back panel, insert your hook into that back loop. And we have that, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we're going to keep doing this, going all the way down. When we don't have any more stitches left, do a chain up of 1 and cut. Alright, so now that we have just finished going in with the mock neck, we're now going to go in with the bottom band. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is go in with a single crochet row along the bottom just to clean it up. So insert your hook into any one of these side half double crochet rows. Insert your yarn onto your hook, pull through to a chain up of 1, and then we're going to make our way all the way across, putting 2 single crochets into every side half double. So into this first side half double that we inserted our hook into, our chain up of 1 counts as 1. Then we're going to do another one into that same half double. So insert, single crochet. Skip this side slip stitch row, go into the next side half double, another set of 2 singles. So there's 1, and then there's 2. And keep doing this, going all the way around, slip stitch into that chain of 1 space, then I'll meet you guys back. Now that we have single crocheted along the bottom of our piece, we're now going to go in with the length that we want our bottom band to be. I want mine to be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters, so I'm going to start off by making a chain of 9. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain to a chain up of 3. That's our turning chain. Prepare for a double crochet. Insert your hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the 4th chain from our hook, with a double crochet. Put 1 double crochet into every stitch. Now that we have double crocheted all the way down, we're now going to slip stitch it into the base. So from here, we're going to count up 1, 2 available stitches, and we're going to slip stitch into that second. And that closes off this first row. From here, we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches into the base to work our way up to the next row. Flip our work, and then we're going to go in with back loop double crochets. When we make it to the end, do a chain up of 3, flip your work, put 1 back loop double crochet into every stitch and connect it into the base the same way that we just did together. I'll meet you guys back when we don't have any more stitches left so that we can seam it up. And now that we have made our way all the way around with our back loop double crochets, we are now going to seam it up together. The first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that our work is flipped wrong side out, because this is going to be a single crochet seam, so we want that to be hidden along the inside. Once we have that, we're going to sandwich our 2 panels together. We're going to insert our hook into the first available stitch into the front panel, and then into the next available stitch into the back panel, and then single crochet. Let's do 1 more together. Into the next available stitch into the front, insert your hook. Into the next available stitch into the back, insert your hook, and then single crochet. And keep doing this, going all the way down when we don't have any more stitches. Do a chain up of 1 and cut. All right, so we have just finished up going in with our bottom band, and we are going to finish this baby off by going in with the hood. So the first thing we're going to want to do is figure out where the middle point of our front panel is. All I did was I traced this middle row that I had going all the way up and inserted my stitch marker into that stitch. And then from here, we're all going to start working along the left side first because we want our ribbing to be faced the outside. So I'm first going to insert my hook into the stitch that my stitch marker is in. Insert my yarn onto my hook, pull through, and do a chain up of 2. From here, we're going to prepare for a half double crochet and work along these back loops that we left for ourselves, putting 1 half double crochet into each. So yarn over, insert your hook into that next stitch, pull through 3. Make your way all the way around, putting 1 half double crochet to every stitch, and we are also going to meet back 1 stitch away from our stitch marker. So we've just made our way all the way around, putting 1 half double crochet into every stitch. Once we get to the end, we are going to put our last half double crochet into that middle stitch, so that stitch that our chain up of 2 is in. Once we have that, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then go back the way we came, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And that is actually it. We're going to keep alternating between a row of back loop half doubles and back loop slip stitches until this reaches the crown of our head. And then I'll meet you guys back to let you guys know how many rows, my measurements, and then what we're going to do after that. All right, so I am back with my hood, and I ended up having 35 rows, and that comes out to 16 inches or 41 centimeters. And once we get to this point, I am ready to now seam it up. So what we're going to do is take our hook and then insert it into the corner stitch that we have on the opposite side. We do need this to be flipped wrong side out, so once we have this, we're going to take the inside of the hood, flip that, readjust our work, and then we can single crochet along the inside of our hood. So now that we have our work properly flipped, we're now going to yarn over, pull through everything, do a chain up of 1 to secure. And this is going to be the same way that we have seamed up the bottom band. So go ahead and insert your hook into the next available stitch into the front panel, into the next available stitch from the back panel, and then single crochet. Keep doing this, going all the way down, and then do a chain up of 1 and cut. All right, so we have just finished up seaming up our hood, and the last thing that we're going to do is clean up the edge. So we're going to insert our hook into that stitch where our hood meets, insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and then from here, go ahead and do a chain up of 1, and then put 2 single crochets into every side half double crochet, skipping our slip stitch row. We're going to keep doing that, going all the way up and over. We're going to slip stitch into the same stitch that we just inserted our hook into, do a chain up of 1 and cut. All right, so we have just finished up single crocheting around the entirety of our hood, and we are actually now all done. The last thing we're going to have to do is weave in all of our ends. Our ends are woven in, and our hoodie is all finished. This crop hoodie style has got to be one of my favorites. I want to say it's one of the reasons why I started crocheting, but who remembers? Revisiting this style and revamping it is a favorite of mine to do, so be sure to hit that bell so you can see when we jazz up the next one. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us how you're doing today. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up because believe it or not, it really, really helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. Those links are down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. And be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.